Hi all, it's me again, Puppy Training. Today's going to be a mixed bag of things about teaching your puppy all sorts of different things and hints and tips. The adolescence period that the puppy goes through. A most important part of its development and a most important part for the handler to get it right. It doesn't last long and it doesn't go on forever. So my advice to any handler is to stay calm when this is the thing with the puppy where it's going through this stage. Keep calm, give them lots and lots of exercise and get it doing something, controlling it in some sort of way, but don't be too firm with it. If you're going to do any training with it, make it easy for the dog to do. Try and tackle bad habits later on. You know, obviously it's a bit like a teenager going through a teenager stage where the hormones are flying around here, there and everywhere. That puppy will be doing exactly the same or having the same sort of problems. So you have to be a little bit easier, relent a little bit on the training side of it and coming down hard on them, but don't actually give up with what you've actually done in, you know, when it was first a puppy in the real puppy stage. Don't forget all your training there, because basically you don't really want to lose that, because obviously that could happen if you don't get this stage right. Soon as it's through that puppy, that adolescent stage, you can then get back on track and training. If the dog starts ignoring your commands or to calls to come and things like that, totally ignores you, starts weeing in the house, doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things that your precious little puppy hadn't been doing up until then obviously it is definitely going through that stage, and it, as I say, it won't go on for too long, but you have to go with it. And it happens to both sexes, both the dogs and the bitches. They both go through it in different ways. The bitch will have her first season most probably, and the dog will start getting mature in that he wants to chase after all the bitches. So there is all that to contend with as well. But you have to stay calm, treat it as if it's just one of those things that will go away at some point in time. They're also about this time going through the second stage of teething. The first stage was the puppy stage, and we'll talk a lot bit more about teething later on. But the first stage is the puppy stage, and usually that's over and done with by about 6 months. But then once you start getting into the second stage of teething, that's slightly different. They're getting their adult, well, they've got their adult teeth around about 18 months, but up until then, from 6 months onwards, they're coming through. They can be annoying to some of the pups and the dogs, you know, because they're causing severe agitation to the gums. And most of what they do is through their mouth. They actually have to feel things, and the whole surroundings is governed by what they taste and can pick up and so on. So it's a vital time of this second stage of teething as well. What I would suggest, if you're finding your dog is having problems in teething, then what I used to do with my dogs, I don't know if it's the done thing, but I used to use cold carrots from the freezer. You give them a cold carrot, what happens is they'll chew it easily. You'll find some of the puppy teeth coming off into the carrot as well, which actually speeds up the development for the second teeth to come through. Bones and things like that, we'll come on to that. That comes much later on. That's just to keep them, you know, out of trouble and keep them amused. But basically, a lot of training can be done at this stage as well, which without them knowing it. You know, the leave and take it. When I say leave, it means leave. You've got to drop it into your hand when you say leave, whatever it's carrying. And that could be something like the carrot, like the ball, anything. So you're teaching it to leave when you do so. Very useful later on when you come to give your dog a bone, a big knuckle bone, which I would suggest, rather than chicken bones and things like that. But when you want to take it off of him and he doesn't want you to have it, and for some reason the primal type of nature comes out of the dog once he has a bone. Some dogs are quite good, but generally most dogs will want to hold on to it, and they might growl, they might run off with it and so on, but they won't want to give it up. So teaching that in the home, but you don't give them a bone. I personally wouldn't give my dog a bone, not until there was about 18 months, when I knew that the dog knew what leave meant and what take it meant. So when I gave him the bone to take, he would take it, and when I said leave, he drops it in my hand and leaves it. All I would say about this though is, with the adolescent stages, you cannot ignore it. So don't try and push it under the mat and forget about it, hoping it's going to go away. But most probably, if you do that, it will make other habits, bad habits perhaps, or other habits that have been good, change and alter in some sort of way, and they become a bad habit. And once it's ingrained, it's extremely hard to alter and change. So make sure you get it right at this stage, adolescent stage, puppy to adolescent stage. The last point I would make is the adult set of teeth, like us, they have two sets of teeth throughout their lives, the baby stage and the adult stage. And in the adult stage, they've got 42 teeth basically. I think it's 22 at the bottom, 20 at the top, made up of incisors, molars for tearing them, what have you, and canines for canine teeth. So they've got a whole full set of 42 teeth. And the quicker you can get from puppy stage into the adult teeth stage without too much damage in the home, that's another good point. Don't leave them in the home by themselves for too long, because they'll want to chew on everything and do everything, and that's not wrong, because in the wild the dog will chew on all sorts of things. But make sure it chews on things that you want it to do, not the table leg, coffee table leg, or a settee and things like that, because they just want to chew at anything. Most dogs do. Some don't. Some go through it very, very quickly, but that's unusual. So that's the first thing, adolescent stage. A lot more to tell you about that, but most probably it will crop up in some other part of the training. But it's a good time to teach to leave and take it. Take it is just as important, take it. You're asking the dog to take it from you, he can have it. And that really will come in useful when you're giving him a bone, because you're not actually taking that bone from him and never going to give him another bone again. You're doing it on your terms, and you eventually understand that although mum or dad has taken it from him, you're going to let me have it back at some point. And then later on, you don't let them have it back. But they've got more mature and they understand.